All right, we're live. All right, we're live. Turn that down so I can see the comments. Welcome back. It's been a while, a few weeks at least. We have the next layer of the rock block. Took me a while to carve, and just gonna jump right into it. It's another rainy day in New York City. Make sure you say hello if you're joining us today. It took me a couple weeks to carve this, maybe a total of 5 hours, but I've been busy the last couple of weeks with some family stuff. Had some friends and family in town the last 4 or 5 days. My son made his first communion this past weekend. We had a big party, and that was really fun. But I figured finish this block yesterday carving, and I think you're gonna like this next impression. It's really bringing the print to life. I think I have 3 or 4 more impressions after this color, and then we have to finish the rope color, and then this print will be finished. So really planning on getting this thing done soon, hopefully, because I have other projects I need to start. Using a screwdriver to clean off my block. With these first couple impressions, you really have to check the surface because there's a lot of little bits of wood from the carving, so you really have to check. So we'll show you the print, where it stands currently. If you remember, it's got this reddish tone, sandy red tone to it. And we're going to be covering most of that up today. I dampened the paper lightly today so it's not so floppy. And again, we're going to just burnish the back of this lightly with the Baron, just to set the paper down. And then I'm going to run it over to the press quickly. And we're using the press still at the same pressure. I haven't adjusted the pressure of the press this whole time, so it seems to be working well. So I'm doing 1 pass on the press. I'll bring it back over here. Hey Pam, glad you're here. Check this out. I think you're gonna like this impression here. I already did a couple off camera just so I could film it for other YouTube videos, but it's looking really good. Put it on a piece of cardboard here. Here we are. Just another layer. So we're covering up that reddish tone with a lighter, slightly lighter, and slightly more gray or neutral tone. But I did put some extender, some transparent extender in here, so it's a little bit more transparent. These next couple layers I'm going to keep a little more transparent so that the tone underneath still comes through, and you're starting to get a real good feel for how this print's going to look. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Now I'm just looking forward to finishing this thing, really. But this rock, there's every color you can imagine. There's some red, there's some beige, there's some green. You know, there's all different yellows and oranges all in this rock. So I'm trying to alternate the warms and cools each layer so that I can get this really good variation that the quality of this rock has. And it's starting to come together, so let's do another one. While Pam's on here, I just noticed you finished that little embroidery of the two birds playing the banjo. That was a really nice piece you made. Congratulations on that one. I follow her on Instagram, and she does some lovely embroidery, hand embroidery work, quilting as well. I don't know what the difference is, but she's a very talented craftsperson. Did I just, no. Just make sure I get a nice equal amount of ink across the block surface. Grab another print. Here it is. Yeah, he's gonna love that as a gift when he receives it. Be a nice little addition to his home for his family to enjoy. So we'll run this over to the press. I could do this by hand with the Baron at this stage, but the press right now is just, it's faster, it's a little less effort for me. So I'm just taking it the easy way. But it's also been consistent, so I just want to keep it as consistent as possible for this whole process. We can check our registration along the way as well. Pulling this off so it doesn't buckle or crease. So here it is, the next layer. Nice and transparent gray tone over the red. Let's do a before and after comparison. Turn this way. I'll get another print here so you can see the before and after effect and how much it really changes every impression dramatically changes. So this is the before and this is the after. So it's really exciting, printmaking, reductive printmaking, because each new impression really changes the outcome and how it looks. It brings you one stage closer to the finish line. So I'm really happy the way it's turning out. So if anyone's joining us for the first time, let us know so we can say hello and welcome you to the group. It's looking good. Very content with this one. So we just keep going. It's very repetitious. I've been doing some painting, some oil painting recently to try to get back into it, try to build my skills back up again on color mixing and brushwork, and just get into the mindset of oil painting again, because I do want to make some oil paintings for my exhibition that's in November. So I've been doing these like little studies, these little 4x4 paintings on panels, little like wooden panels, just to get back into it. So I've been picking that up when I have some time here and there. I've been really enjoying it. But it's amazing how the oil painting and the printmaking, especially with the oils, they really go hand in hand with how you layer colors and how colors will respond to each other. So today, for instance, this is like a cool, almost a warm, maybe it's a warm gray. I have the test piece here. So it's sort of like a warm gray that we're using today. But there's some transparency in it. But when you put a transparent, opaque color over a darker color, it's automatically going to read as cool. It's called, in painting, it would be called a scumble, because it's a lighter value over a darker value. And as soon as you put a scumble over a darker tone, it automatically reads cooler. I'm just going to show you an example. So this is the gray that's over this red. But it also forms like a new gray, a new color, because of that transparency. That's kind of what I'm going for here. But when I'm painting with oils, I'm thinking about this as well. So if I put a darker transparent color over a light tone, that's called glazing. But if you do an opaque over or a light over a dark, it's called a scumble. So this impression today is really just a scumble over this whole rock surface. Send this through the press real quick. So yeah, that's it. That's our work for today. I know it gets repetitive, so feel free to check out anytime you'd like. I probably won't keep this video going too long, considering we only have like 3 people on here. But I'll let it run for a few more impressions in case people decide to check in. Put it over here. Let's run this through the press quickly. Hello, Matt. Welcome. I'm using a 100% Kozo washi. That's no particular brand. I got it from, I think, the art store in England, Jackson, because I can't find it anywhere else at the moment. And it came sized. So it's not the best sizing job, but when you buy it pre-sized, you kind of get what you get. You don't have too much control over it. So it was sized, and this The sky portion is all Mokuhanga in the figure, so it's all water-based pigments. Those pigments are used, pigments that I use for the Mokuhanga are Akua, I'll show you, or I'm sorry, not Akua, Guerra pigment. They're called pigment dispersions from Guerra, which is in Brooklyn now. It used to be in New York City on the Lower East Side forever, and now it's in Brooklyn. I think it's like in Williamsburg or Bushwick. I don't know, I haven't been there to the new location yet. And then for the rock surface, I transitioned to oil-based pigments. And for the oil-based pigments, I've been using these Cranfield Relief inks. And I get these on Blick.com. And they come in these tubes, which I like. I'm not a big fan of these, and I have some of these as well, which are Gamblin Relief ink links. But I'm not a big fan of these tins. I prefer the tube. It's easier to manage and it doesn't get all gunked up. And so I buy the tubes when I can. And today I'm using some transparent, what is it called? Gamblin transparent base. Put a little bit of this transparent base in this color because I wanted it to be a little bit transparent. So paper is washi, 100% Kozo. We have the Guerra water-based pigments and the Cranfield and Gamblin oil-based pigments. So it's a little bit of a hybrid relief print where Eastern and Western printmaking comes together. But thanks for checking out my channel, and thanks for your questions, Matt. I'm having a hard time finding paper, washi. So I'm starting to experiment with some other paper that I can get it from other sources. All right, here's the print. It's going down. Be really careful, keep this registration clean here. Or accurate. I'm going to send this over to the press. Yeah, the Akua is, I don't know why I said Akua. Akua are the oil pigments that don't have any drying agents in it, right? They just are supposedly supposed to soak into the paper. And there's none of this in there. Cobalt dryer, which makes your pigments dry in within a day or two. But I need my prints to dry, so I don't use those anymore. Because yeah, they take forever. They don't really dry. The oil just soaks into the paper, and then the back of the paper looks all oily. And I'm not a big fan of the Akua products. Got a little bit of glue in this corner canto, so I'm just scraping it out. Being careful not to alter that registration mark. I guess the Akua works well if you just do one color on like a thick cotton, 100% cotton rag. If you just do one or two colors, it could potentially work. But for something like this where I'm layering, multiple layers, 10 layers of ink, you need those layers to dry in between printing so you can continue with your project. So we need some toxic drying agents. I'm not like eating this stuff. I'm not touching it very much, so. And I'll add some of that cobalt dryer. Just one drop is all you need for a whole pile of paint or pigment. I will add that sometimes when I really need it to dry fast, like overnight. Just drop one little drop and it sets up within 24 hours usually. You just have to make sure your space that you're working in is well ventilated. I guess breathing in the cobalt dryers is the toxic part. So make sure you have your windows open. Over to the press. And then after this one, we'll compare the prints again, before and after, so you can see. And then after I'm done printing this batch today, I will clean off the block as well as I can. And then I'll start to carve the next color tomorrow or the next day. Let's move this out of the way. We'll do a before and after one more time. Yeah, the mag mix. What does the mag mix do actually? I've never used it. Does it just thicken it or does it make it thinner? I know you can use like plate oil if you want it thinner, but I've had no problems using the Cranfield inks right out of the tube. They're pretty much the same consistency, all of them. I would say they're just like a little thicker than like an oil paint, like a just like an old regular oil paint, just a little bit more tacky. But they seem to be good. And then when I do put the extender in it, the transparent base, it seems to thin it out slightly. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way they function right out of the tube. Yeah, mag mix makes it thicker. Yeah, this is, I think right out of the tube, they work great. I wouldn't want it any thicker. If anything, I'd want it maybe a little thinner, but I guess it just depends on what you're going for. But yeah, I'm kind of, I'm still new to this too. I've only been doing this for, I don't know, 7 years or 6 or 7 years or something. So I'm fairly new to this whole process myself. I guess if you're doing etching, or if you're doing like aqua tints or other relief printing techniques, you would want the mag mixer, you'd want the ink to be a little bit thicker so it sits in those grooves more and not as easy to wipe away, I'm guessing. I'm not sure. But next time I put an order in at Blick, I'll buy some mag mix and I will buy some of that plate oil, I think it's called, just to experiment with different viscosities, levels. Also, when you're doing the oil on the wood kind of soaks in the oils a little bit, I feel like. Kind of holds it in place. The linoleum is a little bit more of a slippery surface. I could see making the oil pigment a little bit more thick on the linoleum, because the paper sometimes does slide a little bit on the linoleum blocks. And this wood I'm using here is a Shina plywood. Oops, gotta put this through the press. Almost forgot. Peel that up nice and slow. I'm liking how this corner up here in this green section down here, there's kind of a nice little conversation going back and forth, the red and the green. I like how the roof up under here, it's not black. I could have just printed it black, but I left it this kind of purple color. It's more of like a reflective light. But it's kind of nice big shape that kind of, it's simplified, but it kind of is working. but there's no going back now. So we just keep moving forward. Nice. Matt has another question, it looks like. Let's see what he has to say here. Hold on one second. Just set this press up for the next one. I'm using linoleum. Yeah, the cherry on plywood, that's just a very thin veneer, like, what is it, like a 1/16 of an inch or a 32nd of an inch. And then once you get underneath that, you're just on like a Baltic birch plywood, which that stuff is terrible to carve. So I wouldn't recommend carving on Baltic birch plywood to anybody, because you're just carving through layers of glue, and it ruins your chisels and dulls your tools, and it feels really bad. Like aesthetically, it's not very pleasing. This Shina plywood carves really well, but I'm not a big fan of carving it as well. I'd prefer to carve linoleum because it's very consistent and it's soft. Or I would like to carve a solid hardwood like cherry. Even maple is kind of fun to carve sometimes. Maple is hard to carve, but it's kind of fun if you have some thinner lines or some textural things going on. But yeah, I really enjoy carving linoleum with my traditional Japanese wood carving tools. You can get really detailed with it. But the best wood to carve that I've found is the cherry from Japan. I think it's called Sakura. It's the wild mountain cherry. And that's the nicest stuff to carve. Get really detailed with it. It's a nice feel. But the American cherry is second. Yeah, carving plywood is not very fun. Hey, Creative Kristen. Oh, you have a YouTube channel. I recognize your logo with your little logo there. She has you guys should check out her YouTube channel as well. Creative Kristen Taylor. She's got some really cool videos. Well, thanks for joining in, Kristen, and thanks for the comments. Yeah, I wasn't sure how the clouds were how they were gonna turn out, to be honest with you, because this is the first time I tried to depict like a kind of an overcast, cloudy day. There's just like patches of clouds rolling through. So at first, I wasn't sure if it was going to work with this reductive style. But as we do with reductive printmaking, you just keep carving, you keep printing, and you keep making your decisions based on your last impression. So it's very like reactive. You have to react to what you've done, have a goal in mind, but you kind of just have to keep rolling with the punches. And if you're interested in reductive printmaking or Mokuhanga, I highly recommend you check out Cam Bailey's work. He's on Instagram, Cameron Bailey. He does reductive Mokuhanga, And his prints are amazing. He actually lives here in New York City as well. He lives in Queens. But yeah, the clouds ended up working well. It gets the effect going. I was looking at a lot of like Hasui clouds and see how they do it. He's using those prints as other woodblock prints as inspiration. Yeah, no problem, anytime. You know, I look at a lot of other people's YouTube channels for inspiration and see what projects they're doing, see what kind of videos they're making. Not to copy their videos, but just to see what isn't out there, so I can help inform people on different printmaking techniques, or just share the way I do things. But if you want to see some nice clouds, you got to look at Hasui prints. His clouds are amazing. Or Yoshida prints. To the press. Some of Yoshida's prints are like all clouds, the whole print. Like this Niagara Falls scene and some of those mountain scenes. It's just, the whole print is just a series of multiple layers of mist and clouds, and they just form into this beautiful landscape, an atmospheric bliss. Cool, we're moving along. Probably only have about 4 or 5 more to go. How are we doing on time here? 44 minutes. So I usually keep these under an hour. I'll just keep going. It seems like there's some people here still. If you have any questions, let me know. Or any comments or whatever. Just feel free to post whatever you're doing. Yeah, all the Shin Hanga prints have really lovely landscapes with clouds. And I really enjoy Hasui's clouds because they're very simplified, yet they're very believable. They'll have like, you know, 3 colors or three shades of color. And the way he draws and designs them is just so believable. But so simple. It's very graphic, yet believable. To the press. Yeah, it's coming together. See how many we have left. I get about 5 or 6 more. Let's keep going for a few more minutes. That's a lot of ink. Got a bristle. My roller. Make sure I clean that off. It's a nice quiet day out there today. Not too much traffic. It's raining outside. It's not as loud as it usually is. And it's quite cool today. It's only like 55 degrees out. Yeah, the registration's been doing well this whole time. Just been keeping an eye on this. This white has been there since the very first impression. This line, which is the rope. And it's been there ever since the first impression. So that's how I've been gauging the registration. But also you can see along the margins, everything's lined up. So the furthest point, so this is the corner Kento, so the furthest point away would really, you can really see the difference. So there's a little bit of a gap there, a little bit of an overlap, but that's not much. So we're doing pretty well here. And we are well into, I would say, around 20 impressions on this print so far. I'm guessing it's going to be about 24, 25 impressions altogether. So I'll do one more and then I want to say goodbye. I'll finish up this batch. I'll speed it up a little bit. Got some junk on my roller here. Hey, thanks for joining, Matt. Yeah, we'll do one more and then say goodbye for now. And I'll probably see you hopefully next week, maybe towards the end of next week, with the next impression, which will just be continuing to carve this block away bit by bit. It's just these last few impressions just gets more and more intricate, and it just becomes more and more time consuming. But I'm gonna really focus and dedicate my time and effort to this because I gotta get this thing finished. It's been way too long. At this point, I just kind of want it to be over with. Move on to the next project. My next project is going to be a little bit more loose, not as dependent on a photograph. It's actually from a sketch that I made in my sketchbook. I'm cutting a key block, and then I'm going to transfer the key block and figure out all the color blocks based on the black key lines, like a traditional woodblock print or Mokahanga. So that'll be fun, a little bit different than this style of printing, which is based on my Photoshop file and my photography. I'll show you the block real quick that I'm working on, so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. So yeah, it was a little like 4 or 5 inch. Gotta find the block. Here it is. It was like a little 4 or 5 inch. I have a little painting I made as well. So this is the next project. It looks kind of messy. But we got some nice pine trees at the top of a cliff. The distance. So you could see the hatching. The style of drawing that I was doing with a marker in my sketchbook. I'm trying to keep that that sketchy hatching quality in the print. Not all of it, but some of it. I'm kind of just developing it as I go. And this was a little painting that I made, a little study for colors. This is an oil painting on a wooden panel. You can see the distance there. So I'm going to use this painting and then my sketch, and I'm going to kind of develop a print based on these things, these two items here. We'll see how that turns out. Just a little different style, a little bit different technique. So I'm actually really excited to get back into this carving. This is a nice piece of American cherry. So I'm excited to get into this block. So lots of projects, lots of ideas, just not enough time, and I just don't work fast enough, I guess. Take it easy, Pam, Matt, Kristen, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next time.